New York City was slowly sinking into the early evening rush as Emily Carter ended her exhausting double shift. The city lights flickered against the windows of the small ATM booth she stepped into, seeking a brief moment of relief. She inhaled deeply, her shoulders heavy from the day, and murmured, "I just want to see my balance," while sliding her card into the machine. For her, this was routine, a quiet check to make sure she could make it through the week. She had no idea that within seconds, something would happen that would derail her sense of calm. Just as the screen was beginning to load, a sharp, startling bang echoed from across the street. Emily's head jerked up, adrenaline spiking. A man sprinted past the glass window, sweat dripping from his forehead, glancing behind him as if chased by a shadow. The city's usual chaos intensified for Emily in that moment, making her step back instinctively. She stared outside, wondering what danger she narrowly avoided. What she didn't know was that while she felt fear in the heart of New York, life was shifting dramatically far away in the Arizona desert. That same night, hundreds of miles away, former firefighter Mark Sullivan was driving down an empty desert road after picking up supplies. The Arizona sky was painted with deep orange and purple hues, the last heat of the day rising from the ground. Mark enjoyed these solitary drives, the stillness soothed something inside him. But tonight, something felt different. His ears caught a faint sound carried by the wind, so fragile he almost thought he imagined it. Instinct took over, and he pressed the brakes hard. The truck skidded slightly on the dusty ground before stopping. Mark stepped out, scanning the desolate landscape. The faint cry came again, soft, weak, heartbreaking. Following the sound, he found a small Apache child curled beside a fallen log, his tiny body trembling, his skin sunburned. The sight hit Mark like a punch to the chest. Without hesitation, he knelt, lifted the child gently, and offered water from his canteen. The boy's lips moved weakly, desperate yet hopeful. Mark wrapped him in his jacket, feeling the child's fragile weight against his arms. Mark rushed him to the truck, whispering soothingly, "You're safe now. Stay with me, buddy." As he drove through the night toward his cabin, Mark kept checking on the boy, making sure he was breathing steadily. The roads were silent, the desert moon glowing faintly, and Mark refused to let exhaustion slow him down. By the time they reached the cabin, the boy was bundled warmly, slowly recovering from dehydration. Mark spent the entire night sitting beside him, making sure he didn't slip into unconsciousness. He didn't sleep, he didn't dare. Over the next 4 days, Mark became the boy's guardian. He cooked small meals the child could digest, cleaned his cuts, and told gentle stories to keep him calm. The boy didn't speak much, but his eyes slowly regained light, a soft trust forming between them. Mark often sat on the porch at night, hearing the quiet desert wind, wondering where the boy had come from and who might be desperately searching for him. The desert held its secrets, but Mark felt the answer was drawing closer with each passing hour. On the 4th morning, the sun had barely risen when a firm, unexpected knock rattled the cabin door. Mark froze mid-step. Nobody visited him out here. With cautious movements, he opened the door, and his breath caught. 3 Apache women stood outside, exhausted, dusty, and emotional. Their eyes widened when they spotted the child behind Mark, and tears spilled instantly. The eldest woman's voice trembled as she whispered, "He's our nephew, the storm separated us. We feared the desert had taken him." In that moment, Mark realized his sleepless nights and desperate care had saved far more than one life. He had restored a family's hope. Sunlight was barely brushing the edges of the desert horizon when a sudden, firm knock echoed through Mark's wooden cabin. The sound cut through the stillness like a warning. Mark's heart stepped out of rhythm for a moment. He wasn't expecting anyone. Nobody ever came this far into the desert. He placed his hand on the door, hesitated, and then slowly pulled it open. Standing before him were 3 Apache women, their clothes coated in dust, their faces marked by sleepless nights. The moment their eyes landed on the child behind him, grief and relief collided into tears. The eldest woman stepped forward, trembling as though she had carried mountains on her shoulders. Her voice was rough from crying and days of calling through the desert winds. "He's our nephew," she whispered, her voice cracking. "The storm separated him from us, we thought the desert had taken him." The pain in her words settled heavily in the room. Mark stepped aside immediately, giving them space, watching as the women fell to their knees around the boy. The child, still weak, managed a small smile that shattered the last layer of their fear. The cabin filled with soft, emotional sounds, the gentle cries of relief, the whispered prayers, the murmured reassurances only family can give. One woman cupped the boy's face, kissing his forehead again and again, as if confirming he was real. Another wrapped her arms around him protectively, her shoulders shaking with gratitude. Mark stood a few steps back, feeling the weight of days of worry leaving their bodies. The warm morning light slipped through the window, illuminating the tear-drenched reunion like a blessing. For a moment, the cabin felt sacred. After a long stretch of emotional silence, one of the women rose slowly and approached Mark. Her eyes were swollen, but her expression held a depth of gratitude he had never seen before. She took his hands gently, almost reverently. "You didn't just save him," she said, her voice steady but heavy with emotion. "You saved our family." Mark wasn't a man easily shaken, but those words hit him harder than wildfire smoke ever had. He looked down, humbled, unsure how to accept such powerful gratitude for something he considered simply human. He tried to explain that anyone would have done the same, but deep down he knew the desert didn't offer second chances easily. Many people might have driven past, unaware or unwilling to stop. But he wasn't built that way. His heart had always been pulled toward those in danger. The women listened quietly, watching him with a respect that softened the air. They asked how he found the boy, how he took care of him, and with every detail Mark offered, their admiration grew. The boy sat between them, leaning into their arms, the safety of family slowly bringing peace back to his face. As the morning sun brightened the cabin, something deeper settled between them all, an understanding that kindness has the power to cross every border, every culture, every distance. Differences in language, background, and worldviews melted away in the presence of love and humanity. Mark felt the weight of that truth settle warmly inside him. What started as a desperate moment on a desert road became a bridge between strangers, a reminder that the world becomes gentler when one human chooses to care for another. And in that quiet desert morning, surrounded by gratitude and newfound connection, Mark realized that sometimes the smallest actions echo the loudest.